This is an oak tree. It's maybe 200 or 300 years old. It's one of Britain's most beautiful and majestic species of tree, and it's got a really interesting story to tell. It's something that inspires me a lot. It's a story about a silly looking seed, some thorn bushes, and a bird that sounds like it's being strangled. Oak trees start out life as an acorn, and acorns have long been a bit of a metaphor because they are so small and seemingly so insignificant, and yet they make one of the biggest and most awesome looking trees in the forest. But the odds of an individual acorn actually making it to be a tree this size are not very good. A lot of acorns just don't make it, and in order to grow to be a tree, they need the right sort of conditions. And the right sort of conditions, they're actually found by working together with some other animals and plants. You see, oak trees create a lot of shade, and if an acorn just falls onto the ground beneath its parent tree, it has basically no chance of survival because it is growing in its parent's shadow. So the oak tree needs to get its acorns as far away from the oak tree as possible. And to do that, it enlists the help of a rather special kind of bird. And that bird is the jay. Now, the jay is actually a type of crow, but it doesn't look very much like a crow, mainly on account of being pink and having a silly moustache. It also makes the most horrible sound I've ever heard a bird make. But the jay is a very intelligent bird. It is a resident across much of Central Europe, which means that it has to endure some quite harsh winters. And for a bird that feeds mainly on nuts, that's a problem. In order to have enough food to survive the winter, the jay takes acorns from the oak tree, eats some of them, and buries the rest. And their ability to bury acorns is incredible. They can travel huge distances from the parent oak tree and bury thousands over the course of an autumn. In fact, they can carry up to 8 or 9 acorns in their throat at one time. So these acorn burying machines are covering the countryside in buried acorns, stashed in random places for them to return to over the winter. Now, jays have an incredible memory, but obviously they do not remember all the acorns that they have buried. And the ones that don't get dug up and eaten through the winter, well, they've just been put in the perfect conditions to grow into a tree. Jays are so prolific at planting oak trees, it is thought that entire woods owe their existence to these birds. But because they are so long-lived, oak trees grow very slowly, and they struggle. Young trees are not very strong, they are susceptible to being blown over by storms, and they are also the favourite food of lots of animals, in particular deer, which will graze them all day long. So if you want to plant your own oak tree yourself, you have to put it in a little plastic tube to stop it from getting blown over. And you also have to put up a really big, really expensive fence to stop those pesky deer from eating all of your hard work. But in the wild, of course, oak trees have neither big great fences nor convenient little plastic tubes. So how on earth do they survive that early stage of growth? How on earth do they grow to be so enormous? Well, the protection for young oak trees in the wild comes from one of nature's most essential and hard-working habitat types, and that is something called scrub. Basically, thorn bushes like this and thorny vegetation that keeps out deer and other grazers and gives the young oak tree a safe haven in which it can grow. In fact, there is even an old saying in English, which is that the thorn is the mother of the oak. So this is not just a story of small things becoming big, this is a story of teamwork. This tree was almost certainly planted by a jay, nurtured by thorn scrub until it came to be the majestic, beautiful being that it is today. Big enough for someone like me to sit in it. And if you want some inspiration, maybe you should find a tree to sit in somewhere near you. In the meantime, as ever, keep cool.